The Science of Being Well by Wallace D. Wattle. Chapter 1 continued. Faith, personally applied, cures, and no matter how great the faith or how persistent the thought, it will not cure him without personal application. The science of being well, then, includes the two fields of thought and action. To be well is not enough that a man should merely think in a certain way. He must apply his thought to himself, and he must express and externalize it in his outward life by acting in the same way that he thinks. Chapter 2. The Foundations of Faith. Before a man can think in a certain way, which will cause his disease to be healed, he must believe in certain truths which are here stated. All things are made from one living substance, which, in its original state, permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the universe. While all visible things are made from it, yet this substance, in its first formless condition, is in and through all visible forms that it has made. Its life is in all, and the intelligence is in all. The substance creates by thought, and its method is by taking the form of that which it thinks about. The thought of a form held by this substance causes it to assume that form, and thought of a motion causes it to institute that motion. Forms are created by this substance in moving itself into certain attributes or positions. When original substance wishes to create a given form, it thinks of the motions which will produce that form. When it wishes to create a world, it thinks of the motions, perhaps extending through ages, which will result in its coming into the attitude and form of the world, and these motions are made. When it wishes to create an oak tree, it thinks of the sequences of movements, perhaps extending through ages, which will result in the form of an oak tree, and these motions are made. The particular sequences of motion by which differing forms should be produced were established in the beginning. They are changeless. Certain motions instituted in the formless substance will forever produce certain forms. Man's body is formed from the original substance, and is the result of certain motions, which first existed as thoughts of original substance. The motions which produce, renew, and repair the body of man are called functions, and these functions are of two classes, voluntary and involuntary. The involuntary functions are under the control of the principle of health in man, and are performed in a perfectly healthy manner so long as a man thinks in a certain way. The voluntary functions of life are eating, drinking, breathing, and sleeping. These, entirely or in part, are under the direction of man's conscious mind, and he can perform them in a perfectly healthy way if he will. If he does not perform them in a healthy way, he cannot long be well. So we see that if man thinks in a certain way, and eats, drinks, breathes, and sleeps in a corresponding way, he will be well. The involuntary functions of a man's life are under the control of the principle of health, and so long as a man thinks in a perfectly healthy way, these functions are perfectly performed. For the action of the principle of health is largely directed by the man's conscious thought, affecting his subconscious mind. You need to subscribe to this channel. You need to subscribe to this channel. You need to subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to the Artistic Biker now. Click the buttons.